right, so welcome back again. Our, what is this, third or fourth segment of today's Live with LAFD with Task Force 27 in Hollywood. If you're just joining us, we've been spending the morning with them while they're out training. We are now at the Hollywood Bowl, and they're doing what's called a litter basket operation. So this basket here is used to transport, to be able to safely retrieve a patient in a situation that we can't reach them, just walking up to them. So whether it's off the side of a cliff or down a wash, we'll use the aerial ladder and a rope system to lower this basket down, package up the patient, and then raise it again. So right now, they're preparing the basket. You can see those black straps is what secures the patient to the board, and these ropes is what attaches it to the hook off of the aerial ladder. So you have the two-line rope system is what we call it, is being attached to the truck, and that'll get run up the middle of the aerial ladder. So that red bag is our main line, and the orange one, which is the far one, is the belay line. So you can see they're taking that rope up the ladder and bring it down here. They're attaching it to the end of the aerial. It's going to hang off and it'll go onto the basket. So they're pulling the rope through. Yes, this is training. I mentioned this is training only. They had some time set aside where a different apparatus is covering their district, so they're able to come out and train. So now the aerial is being raised. You can see the rope is being held off the end of it. It'll come around and come clear so that it can be attached to the litter basket. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. We hope that our sessions this morning are enjoyable, entertaining, informative, and make the day at home a little less the same. So this is what a weekend morning is like in the LAFD when you have some training time. So they're now taking the line out to the out to the litter basket. So they'll hook it up to the litter basket, and then they'll raise it. So you see they have to get enough slack, so they take it. It looks like they had a tangle up there, so they had to get that straightened out before he kept going. So they're going to hook that up to the litter basket. So the crew practices this. We've got some newer folks to the shift, so they get that training so that they all know exactly what they need to do. We've got a question from Danny of Probationary Firefighters get trained on the aerial. Yes, they do too. Their initial focus isn't on how to operate the aerial. They initially need to learn the the duties of the position they fill, which is called the top member. So they'll be going up the aerial, but then as they grow more confident and they've shown that they have a handle on all their duties, then they start to learn how to operate the aerial. And that's part of the ongoing training. We're continually training, getting what we call certified on all the different apparatus, meaning if something were to happen, a different person could step in, different firefighter could step into that role and still do it safely. All right, let's see what questions we have. Let's see if I can get you in there a little closer. So this is the litter basket. That helmet would go on the patient. They get strapped into that board with the black straps, secures them to the board. So it's quite the ride. We have a question from Cuddle Team Leader. If we are EMS, yes, we respond both fire and medical in our department. We do our own transports. So we have rescue ambulances, paramedics, firefighters, etc. We've asked if there's an age limit, and there is no upper age limit to join the LAFD. You just have to be 18. We questions if we ever train with other fire departments. We do with our bordering departments, not regularly, but there are specific training exercises that we'll have. Our standard company training like this is just done internally. now they're just waiting until it's safely set up, and then they'll be able to raise the ladder. Someone's asking, like, when would we use this? A litter basket is when there's basically an elevation difference, and we can't, the patient is not ground level, and so we need to be able to lower a basket down to the rescuer. So we'd have firefighter would make their way down, whether it's climbing the hillside into the wash using ladders, but we can't just walk the patient out. You know, they're injured, we can't safely walk them out. So we need, say hello to one of our supporters on here, Jeff New. Hello, Jeff. We got Indianapolis Fire Bus, thanks for joining. Somebody's asked, what's the big firefighter truck called? Not sure. So this is the truck. I'm not sure if this is what you're referring to. This is truck 27. We just refer to them as truck. This one is a Pierce. You can see right there, this is a Pierce. So now they're starting to raise the aerial, which extends the rope. So you can see it extends the rope and will bring the litter basket into the air. We have somebody that holds the rope to make sure it doesn't get tangled. They're making sure that all is clear, and they continue to raise it. Someone's asked, what is the worst a firefighter faces? Well, and I can't speak for everyone, but I would say the two most challenging things are when one of our own is injured or a call involving a child. Those are typically the two hardest things. When we have a critically injured child, or if one of our firefighters go down in an incident, I would say those are the two hardest. See if I can get a cap here to talk to us. You want to just give a brief what situations we use this
Sure.
for? All right.
This is our litter basket operation, and we primarily use it to remove patients that are normally inaccessible by foot. Sometimes they're on top of a building or at a different elevation, as you can see down there. What we do is we secure a basket to our aerial ladder, we lift it up, move it into position, lower it back down, secure the patient who's located on the other side of this building, and then repeat the process. This is a company operation that any life force assigned to the city can perform.
Great, thanks, Cap. So again, reiterating, this is just training. We're not on an emergency incident. This task force had some training time allocated, so there's a different company covering their district, and they're out able to execute this training without any interruptions. And so now you can see these two lines here. There'll be one firefighter on each end, and they use it to stabilize the basket so it doesn't tip either direction. And so now they're going to go. They're simulating, this is a hillside, and the only way to access the patient safely and bring them back is using the litter basket. Because, if someone has an extremity injury or they're seriously injured or perhaps a heart condition, any number of reasons, they're not what we call ambulatory. They can't walk. So we have to use this method. So I'm reading is this Salway Sundek, long name, saying that we could deliver food with extreme physical distancing using this. Yes, that could certainly be done. Not generally the typical use. So we have a question about basically how does a probationary firefighter move to their next assignment. So once they finish probation, their first assignment is going to be given to them by the department based on the needs of the department. And then we all can put in for transfers based on available spots. It uses seniority and needs of the department, but you submit the paperwork, and then when a spot at that station is open and you're the senior person on the list, then you can get that transfer. But the initial assignment out of probation is done. It's given to you. And so now this is simulating that's where the patient would be. And it looks like we do have, let me zoom in for you here. It looks like we have a patient on the ground. There we go. So they are assessing the patient, seeing what needs to be done. Are they just sick? Are they injured? Do they need splinting? And they're preparing the litter basket for loading of the patient. So now it's detached from the ropes. They can move it closer to the patient. Philly Fudge saying you enjoy these videos, we should do more. Well, thank you, we're trying. It's really a staffing issue. We don't have a large staff to be able to come out and do these things, so we're doing the best we can. We appreciate that you enjoy them. So now they're working on, let's see if you can see, might be working on getting the board out. So there's a board in there. They'll be able to slide under the patient. So now the board, they have the backboard out. So in case there's any kind of a spinal injury, we don't want to just pick the patient up and risk furthering injury. So they'll use the appropriate EMS method to lift the patient up from the side, slide the board under them to help stabilize any spinal concerns, any neurological concerns. Oh, it looks like we have one of our family members, so it's this Miss Alex Zarega, enjoying getting inside look at what the firefighters do, which you don't get to see often. And that's exactly why we're sharing this. That we know most people just see us go by on the rigs in the street and they don't get to see the kind of training that they put in. Let's see, someone's asking for a shout out to 5-year-old Spencer. Hello, Spencer. We hope that you are enjoying these videos. We've made a couple. Make sure you go back and watch those, and we still have more to come this morning. And do tune in on the 9th of May. We're going to have a virtual fire service day because we cannot have our normal fire service day where we open up the doors to the public. So we have a big day planned that morning. 4 different locations, by air, by land, and by sea. So be sure to tune in on the 9th of May. We'll have more info coming on that. Oh, it looks like James is watching his dad live. Excellent. Oh, and it looks like Firefighter Washington has a favorite sister saying hello. We'll pass the word on to him. Hello from Brazil. Hello to you too. I'm sorry, I don't know hello in Portuguese. So hello in Portuguese back to you. So now what they're doing is using those black straps I showed you, securing the patient to the board and into the basket, and then they will gradually raise the basket back up. Somebody's asking what are the coats we're wearing right now. They know it's not the bunker coat. Yeah, so these are what we call our brush jackets. This is where we wear these on brush fires, but also when doing overhaul or when doing training. We have a heat advisory in LA today, so it's quite warm, and they're working really hard on all this training. Yet we don't want to exhaust everyone and have people dehydrated because they're sweating through wearing the full turnouts. So this is what we'll tend to wear during warm weather so we can get the training done, but not wear people out needlessly. Hello from the Philippines. All right, so I know this part here isn't super exciting because we're at a bit of a distance here, but in a couple minutes here, they'll have them secured, and then we'll raise them. And again, this is just training. This is not an emergency operation. We are out with their company training. They had some time set aside, so there's a different resource covering their district, so they're able to come out and do this training. And then they'll go back and resume running calls. This is Task Force 27, based out of Hollywood, off of Cole at Hollywood Boulevard. So now they've got the patient secured. You can see they moved it back into the inline position with where the rope is hanging. You wouldn't want to have the basket still out to the side over here, and your rope straight line is here, because then they'd be dragged over. So they're in line with the rope, they're hooking the rope back up, and you can see there's two lines there. There's the main line and the belay, so there's a safety backup. And there's a rope from each corner of the litter basket that comes together. You can see that triangle it forms, comes together to one point, and then those, we call them tag lines that I mentioned, one on each end. A firefighter will hold those to balance and stabilize it. Someone's asking if he's going to fly. Well, he's going to fly within the safe confines of the litter basket, but yes, he's going to get airborne here in a moment. And so now we'll swing back over here. Let me zoom you back out. So the AO is getting ready to bring the basket back in. Someone's asking why our captains wear orange helmets instead of red. It's just the color we've chosen. Our arson section wears red helmets. You might see some different style helmets out in the field for us right now because they're testing some, but our standard right now is orange for the captains. Let me get out of the way here. So we got Firefighter Washington is stabilizing this end of the basket. So he's come out because we do have this building in the way, so they need to bring it around the building safely. Someone's asking if we video our incidents live on social media. No, I mean, if we got a call right now, I would go with them, but it's not something that we just have going normally. We also have to be careful of any patient privacy. This is a metal basket. We call it Stokes litter basket. Stokes being the manufacturer. I don't know the exact length of the basket. It's going to be a little over 6 feet long, but I honestly don't remember the dimensions of the basket. We've got John asking if we're going to be flowing any water today. Not from this operation, no. And we're going to go over to Fire Station 13, but they're going to, not likely, not today. If you definitely tune in on the 9th of May, and you'll see some water flowing for our virtual fire service day. So you can see they're starting to raise the basket. We'll zoom in a little bit here for you. So this is a gradual process. You can imagine if you were the patient in there, if you were conscious, this would be a little, could be a little nerve-wracking. So it's a slow, steady operation. Someone's asking what rig I'm assigned. I'm not actually assigned. I work in our public information office, so I'm out here joining Task Force 27. So I'm just here right along with them for a few hours this morning. Oh, someone's asking about Firefighter Maddox. Yep, she's still, I don't think she's retired yet. Last I saw, she was still on the job. Okay, so it looks like we have a question from a 7-year-old fan here, Floresita. Thought helicopters lifted people. How do you decide if a truck or a helicopter lifts a person? That's a great question, and it depends on the situation. Some areas, like the helicopter can't get into because maybe there's overhead wires or too many trees. They don't have a clear angle. They have to be able to access it. So it just depends on the situation, and that sometimes this is a better option than a helicopter. Helicopter also creates a lot of rotor wash, which creates a lot of wind, which can make a dangerous situation below. So it really depends on the incident. We've got Hobbs always on deck, asking how many engines are at 27. So we have, let's see, we can swing you over here. So The one that says 227 on the right, that's what we call the pump that travels with the truck that creates a light force. And then the mainline engine is the one on the left. So there's two engines, but they're equipped differently and they have different roles. And then the truck is over here. And then there's also two rescue ambulances. So we have the 800, what we call the 800. You can see by that 827, that's the BLS, Basic Life Support Ambulance. And then the paramedic ambulance is the one that says 27. So they have 14 people on this shift, which is a large station. One we'll go to this afternoon only has 6. All right, so we got the litter basket going up. And this will probably be the last operation with 27s, and then we'll be transitioning over to Fire Station 13, so it'll be a little bit longer in between our next live. So I don't have an exact timeline, but we'll still be going at it. We still have a few more to go. Yes, engine 27 is a reserve rig right now. That is not their frontline rig. When there's a mechanical issue and it has to go in for repair, then they have a backup. We call that a reserve rig. Someone's asking if it's the same basket for kids or for adults. Yes. You know, if we need to use some kind of padding to secure a small person in there, then we can do that, but it's the same basket. David is asking how many stations. We have 106 fire stations in the LA City Fire Department. We've got a request for a video on Drill Tower 81. We're working on it. Right now there is no class in session, but once there is, then we are going to try to get over there. So you can see Firefighter Washington is stabilizing this end with the tagline, and if you follow that other tagline over, you have Firefighter Kona is out there stabilizing that end of and they will pull the basket into where they need it to be. So see right here, they get to work around the challenge of this tree. So they got to make sure that they safely get around this tree branch. You never know what you might encounter. So this is a good training opportunity on how both of the firefighters on the taglines and the firefighters, and the AO on the aerial have to work together because you have someone controlling the ropes. So these ropes are being controlled over here as well as the height of the ladder. So there's a lot going on to manipulate this basket into the right position for the patient. And so this is all just training on how would we get around an obstacle when we need to. Someone's asking if I'm a Captain 1 or a 2. I'm not. I'm a firefighter. I'm working in our PIO section. My name's Firefighter Stewart. I'll swing you over here. You can see the crew up here are talking through their operation and what they would need to, so you can talk like what do we need to lower, what do we need to raise. So you can see the rope system set up, these 2 bags. It's a little bit of a glare, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that very well. There we go. So the one on the left, the orange bag is the belay line, that's the safety. The one on the right, the red bag is the main line. And so you can see they've got the winch there that's controlling the lines. They got to make sure that the lines don't get tangled. It's a bit crowded up there, so it's a little hard to get you the inside shot. There you can see it a little bit better. So you can see the...
I'm looking at you, let me know how low.
All right, and so now it looks like they have safely brought the patient to the ground. So now they would disconnect and that would end the operation. All right, so again, want to thank you for joining us. We're not done. I don't have an exact time when we'll be back, so keep your notifications on. We still have some more live with LAFD to come to you. We'll be joining Fire Station 13 out in the Pico Union, Koreatown area. For a different look, maybe catch some calls. And be sure to tune in on the 9th of May. We will have a virtual fire service day because that's our normal The second Saturday in May is normally our fire service day, so we have lots of demos. All our stations are open house to the public, but unfortunately we can't do that this year. So we're using this platform to try to bring us into your home, and hopefully you find it enjoyable, entertaining, and informative. So stay tuned. We'll be back as soon as we can. All right, be safe, everyone.